It's about that time when we swing on by the old tire fire to see how well things are burning, how much fuel is left on the fire, and how bad things have ultimately got. And guys, I would almost feel bad for how poorly the Marvels is performing at the box office, but then I remember who is in charge of this abomination. You got Marvel, you got Disney on top of that, and then I refresh my memory and I recall that they hate us all so very, very much. So that right there, it brings a smile to my face to know that these are untraveled depths that this thing is hitting, because we have the dailies on this, and as you can see, it's not like the peaks were all that high, but now we're scraping the bottom of the barrel. Even when I was running back my old comparisons, what was that, a few days ago, when we were looking at other historical examples from Marvel, where it's like, okay, when was the earliest in any other release where they were hitting those low 6-digit returns, turning out only 100 and change per theater, which is like 4 or 5 tickets per theater, by the way. Abysmal. The fact that they still have 3,000 plus screens at the ready, and they're only pulling in $336,000. Six other films. Now this, what is it? Saltburn, which I have no idea what the hell it even is, but that's a lot of red on the ledger for Hollywood. It's bleeding right now, and none more so than Disney, because they still got Wish that's out there, but we already talked about that as well a little bit earlier in the day. But no. The Marvels is a unique case of hubris. When the MCU was riding high, they could do no wrong. They could just go ahead and plop out anything and it would just turn a profit. And well, now the people that are aboard this Titanic are just arranging the deck chairs, trying to figure out what went wrong. But then at the same time, just don't simply throw the appropriate people under the bus. You made a dud, okay? You just perform your autopsy and then you move on in hopes that this doesn't happen again. But this is Disney. They don't have that type of hubris, and especially when it comes from the top. And Bob Iger, oh my god, if it's not Elon Musk taking a dump on this guy's chest, it's the entire industry. More on that debacle tomorrow. But this is a special type of stupidity to try to explain away the failure of the Marvels. Now, you'd have to have marbles in your head in order to buy any of this, but Bob Iger blames the Marvels box office failure partially on a lack of set supervision. Because the studio didn't meddle in closely enough with the production, that's why it failed. Do you take us for the sub-IQ idiots that you believe us to be? Do you actually think that anybody's going to buy that line? When a blockbuster fails to ignite, and we better pause that because and I'd owe them reparations. When a blockbuster fails to ignite the box office, there's typically a fair share of blame to go around. Blame, responsibility, tomato in Hollywood. In the case of the Marvels, a sequel to Captain Marvel, but you wouldn't know it from the marketing. Actually, depends on which country you're at around the world, because Disney, they do understand, okay? This is why I don't think that this is all just simple ignorance. Sometimes it just is malevolence. We're dealing with evil people. Sometimes, not every time. But in the case of Disney, well, if you know, you know. Because in places like China and in other Southeast Asian countries, it's marketed appropriately as Captain Marvel, but as we can see from the box office, well, it's not really helping out all that much. But okay, to continue on, that had the lowest opening and lowest probably return, actually undoubtedly the lowest return during its current box office release. I don't even think anything is appropriate for a comparison, especially in the superhero genre. Like, this thing is the only thing that's probably close is like Blue Beetle. The Flash is going to make probably over $100 million more than this thing is. I'm pretty much convinced we will know by the end of this weekend. If they don't hit 95 million by the end of the weekend, this thing's dusted, man. Like, it's not touching 200 million, and that's a lofty expectation, especially it's like it's only made, it hasn't, or just barely scratched $1 million this week. What the fuck, man? But anyways, let's hear what Bob Iger, Disney CEO Bob Iger, is pointing the finger towards those behind the scenes instead of being like, yeah, we tried to experiment by bringing in some new talent, and we thought that, you know, they showed some promise in some of their other endeavors, but I guess, you know what, hey, we just gave them way too much rope, we gave them way too much to handle for their plate, and we'll just course correct on that one. But nope, he had other ideas for who to blame for this. In a recent interview with the New York Times Dealbook Summit, and like I said, you know, more on that hilarious situation, because there were a bunch of stuffed shirts that got super pissed off about what happened there earlier this week. Iger listed a lack of supervision on the film set due to the coof pandemic. How many fucking times can we run that shit back? Okay, now going forward, because this is probably going to be the last thing that the studios can probably blame on failure for in regards to the pandemic. Oh, you know, everything else, okay, Guardians would have been filmed during the pandemic, Multiverse of Madness definitely was, Ant-Man and the Wasp and Quantumania certainly was, because you can tell by the way that thing is edited and shot that none of those actors and actresses were even in the same fucking room at the same time. So yeah, if you wanted to hand wave away those obvious scenes, then you definitely could have, and that would have been plausible. Still wouldn't have made up for the bafflingly poor scripts, but now this time around, it's just the pandemic, and going into the future, if there's ever a cataclysmic bomb like this is, well, they can just say 2023 was just a wash because we had the strikes, and they can always just point to these superfluous events that really don't have any bearing on the quality that goes on when the cameras are actually running. The Marvels was shot during COVID. Iger said there wasn't as much supervision on the set, so to speak. We have executives that are really looking over what's being done day after day after day. So you're telling me that they couldn't look over the dailies because there wasn't multiple copies that couldn't have been sent out? You know, these digital copies couldn't be distributed to the people overseeing a $300 million project? Do you play us for fools, Bob? Do you play us for fools? Elsewhere in the interview, Iger noted that the company has to find a reason beyond commerce for making sequels. Now you're just coming to that realization. Yeah, I know that this, you know, there's no milk left to drain out of these titties, and now we're after gonna get, I don't know, original ideas. Well, for fuck's sakes. Admitting that Disney has made too many, and now we'll only greenlight a sequel if we believe it'll make money, if it's worth telling. Sure thing, sequels to Inside Out and Deadpool are among Disney's upcoming releases. What the fuck is Inside Out? And yeah, Deadpool, which is, again, Disney's gonna learn all the wrong lessons from that one because it has a baked-in fan base, and its first weekend, again, like the Marvel, like a pre-Marvel's Marvel, it'll probably have a big opening weekend. Deadpool 3 might end up making a lot of money because Ryan Reynolds definitely has his hands in everything. He's got executive producer credits, so he's definitely going to be able to fully inject himself and his love of that character fully into the production, so it might end up being good. I hope it is for the people that like Deadpool, okay? I'm not among them, but I really hope that it's a good film for you guys next year, given the fact that it's going to be the only Marvel film released in 2024. And they still haven't finished filming it, and it's supposed to come out in July. Good luck with that one, but it's, you know, it's going to have a lot of other goodwill there as well, because there's also the key jangling aspect of Hugh Jackman coming back after his wonderful send-off with Logan to once again, and finally for the first time ever, don the yellow and blue Wolverine costume. So there's that to look forward to, and then also some rumors in the background that Wesley Snipes might be coming back as Blade, probably the only time that we're ever going to see in the current incarnation of the MCU Blade on the screen. But what's Disney going to end up learning from that? Oh, all we need is more cameos. Oh, fuck. CEO also cited the ease of streaming for encroaching on theatrical business. Again, it has nothing to do with the fact that these films are disposable, non-memorable schlock at best. At best. At worst, it's some of the most convoluted storytelling you are likely to ever see. But no. It's just we could just plop them on streaming service. All right, the streaming service that you thought was going to take over the industry, but in actuality, the market has been flooded with substandard content, leading to the bubble that ended up getting burst earlier this year, and now you're scattering for different ways in order to distribute your content, in order to turn a profit on the entertainment side, because now, more so than ever, Disney is being bolstered by their theme park sector, and spoilers, that's taken a hit as well. Disney Plus you can get for $7 a month. Iger explained that's a lot cheaper than taking your whole family to a film, so I think the bar is now raised in terms of quality. This is idiotic logic. Now, I'm of a certain age, and likely you guys are as well. Well, you will remember, okay, if somebody wanted to go ahead and run this same thought process back in the late 90s, early 2000s, the reason that all of our films are complete and total trash, not because they're written in fucking crayon. No. Is that people could go to Blockbuster and rent a film for like $5 for the weekend, okay? Like, why would they take the entire theater when it would cost like $20 or $40 for everybody to go down to the theater? Oh, you'd have to take everybody down there and you can only see it once. But if they can rent it for the weekend, oh, you could just watch it untold number of times. That didn't hold any water then. Why the fuck would it hold water now? Well, it's unclear whom Iger's supervision comments are directed towards. No, any of these comments, because they just don't land, because they aren't based in reality. A narrative has been floated suggesting that filmmaker Nia DaCosta, who had no business at all directing this, okay, she might be a nice lady. Some of the reports seem to paint her as being this abject narcissist, but it is what it is, who is the first black woman to helm an MCU movie, and the first one, okay, she has, it's so weird, right? Because she holds this dual distinction of being the most profitable black woman to helm an MCU project, but then at the same time be the one at the helm of the biggest bomb in MCU history. Congratulations on your dual victories. Abandoned the Marvels since November 10th opening. In a variety story, Crisis at Marvel, which we covered as well a couple of weeks ago when that one dropped, it was reported that the film required 4 weeks of reshoots, and she's like, yeah, I don't want to be here. I'm going to go work on this goofy-ass project, this fucking indie film. Again, something where back in the day, the people that would helm these MCU projects, they would cut their teeth on smaller projects before being elevated to something that has a 9-digit budget attached to it, okay? Did Joss Whedon just show up one day and is like, hi, I'm going to be taking over the Avengers right now, okay? Did Jon Favreau just wander in off of the set of Rounders and go, yeah, okay, I got this great idea for Iron Man, okay? I'm so glad that you guys thought that, I should be here for that one. No. He cut his chops for a long time to do that, and for me, it was probably his high watermark of his career. It's definitely not any of the fucking Star Wars shit that he's doing. But no. They used to hire people based on, get this one. There used to be a meritocracy for superhero films. I know. People weren't just cast on their immutable characteristics. If you're going to direct a $250, well, it just looks like it was made on a $250 budget, but no, $250 million movie. It's kind of weird that the director to leave a few months to go, a source familiar with the production told the outlet. Exactly, Representative for DaCosta declined to comment. So yeah, I would say, okay, if Bob Iger should ultimately be taking responsibility for this. He is the CEO at the end of the day. If there weren't the requisite training wheels in place for this absolute nobody to come along and you wanted to make this a success, Christ almighty, you had a $300 million plus budget. You still had more reshoots to go, and your fucking director just decides to peace out? You're Disney after all. The problems with Disney run so much deeper than this, okay? This isn't a one-off situation. We've talked about, okay, the crunch time when it comes to post-production, not really worrying about, what the script looks like or anything like that. We got VFX artists, okay, that can go ahead and make any discrepancy look palatable for the audience. And hell, you even got to a point, I think it was Spider-Man No Way Home or something like that, where they had to do an update to some of the special effects. after the film was fucking released, because these crunch times, okay, are so jam-packed with so much content. Disney has just shoveled out so much shit over the past 4-5 years, and now they're having to pay the price for that. But a question I've been asking during several of these videos in the past few months at this point in time, is Disney going to learn? Is Hollywood in general going to learn from their mistakes, all their recent mistakes? Well, if their past track record has anything to go off of course not, man. They are pot committed to this stuff, because this was a clip that came out over a year ago, about 18 months ago, okay, March 29th, 2022, Reimagine Tomorrow, the people in charge of this stuff. And if you'd like, I will link to this tweet, I will link out to this clip, because this just shows you, man, exactly what happens. And with the Marvels, it manifested fully. Disney corporate president Carrie Burke says, as a mother of one transgender child and one pansexual child, why do you worry about your children's sexual proclivities when they're underage? Don't know, but somebody should probably check her hard drive. She supports having many Alphabet Mafia characters in our stories, and wants a minimum of 50% of the characters to be Alphabet and racial minorities. Fantastic stuff. Now all of that stuff is coming to fruition, and we're just at the tip of the iceberg right now, because like it says right there, and it's not like these plans had been secret beforehand. This is just simply when everything got discovered, the rest of Disney's slate, the rest of Phase 5 of Marvel, everything that Disney Star Wars is going to be doing for the next 3, 4, 5 years is all adherent to this message right here. So, strap in, guys. 2024 is going to be wild, and we've also been talking about how crazy it's going to be in a multidisciplinary aspect, and entertainment might not be as much, thanks to the writers and actors strike, but when they do hit, it's going to be with some of the loudest of thuds, mostly because, well, the theaters are going to be fucking empty. So with all that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.